What is up? It is so good to be back behind the podcast console. I'm Matt Pierce, creative director and chief photographer for Route 3 Productions in beautiful Corpus Christi, Texas. And we're going to talk today about 4 simple steps to help you as a photographer if you're trying to start your business in 2023. Let's get on with it. Hang tight. You know, we have been so busy here lately. It's crazy. We do about 30 to 40 weddings each year, and it's great. I love it. It's one of the funnest things in the world. But looking back on it now, several years into our business, there's 4 things that I think as a new photographer I would look at. Okay? What are they? It's pretty simple, actually. It really is. It's actually very simple. So if you are a new photographer and you're getting into this in 2023 and you want to do weddings, this is your podcast. This is your video to listen to. Okay? Flat out, I made some mistakes early on. And part of that was just being too arrogant, being too confident, thinking that I could do more than I really could do. And we're going to get into that. So the reality check is the reality check, right? So let's dive into this a little bit and let's talk about 4 simple things that you can do as a new photographer. Let's go. Well, what would I do if I was going to start my business today? Well, the number one thing I would invest in is education. If you're a new photographer out there, education is key. So where do you find this education, right? Where do you find it? Where do you go to get it? I personally, early on, did not invest in the education of photography because I had done this as a photojournalist, as a journalist, as a producer. I'd been around it. I knew the basics, right? For 15 years? So I felt like I had a good handle on things early on. Okay? I didn't realize what I didn't know about private photography until I started doing it. So I realized pretty quick that I needed to invest in education, whether that be paid education, whether it be free education, whatever the case may be. Education was hugely important because it allowed me to charge more for what I'm doing. I mean, the average cost of a wedding for us is about $10,000. Okay? Now you do the math on that. Okay, we're doing 30 to 40 weddings a year. Average is about $10,000. You do the math. Okay? So, as we begin to charge, now don't think that as a new photographer right out of the box, we were charging $10,000 a wedding. No way. No way. Nowhere close. We were doing $500 weddings, $1,000 weddings. Okay? I mean, it was cheap. We're taking photo shoots anywhere and everywhere we could take them. But it's just ridiculous, right? It was ridiculous. But to get up to this point, we had to invest in education. Now, if you're just starting out, where do you find that education? Yeah, you can pay for it. Sorry, I got the sniffles this morning. It's my allergies. But yeah, you can pay for it. Sure, you can go out there and get a lot of great education and you can pay for it. I would not recommend that. I feel like that's a waste of money, especially if you're just starting out and you don't know 100% that this is for you. Paying for education seems a little ludicrous. Don't go into debt for it. Okay? There's a lot of places out there you can get free education. And one of them, and I'm not sponsored by them, but one of them is B&H. B&H has a lot of videos out there. They have a lot of specialty videos, a lot of tips. Keep in mind, it's all driven to get you to buy something, which isn't necessarily the best thing for you. But if you read between the lines, there's some good education out there through B&H. And check out their website. You can also find some great bloggers out there, some great photographers out there who are willing to share their information and their knowledge. So that is key. Education. It's free. A lot of times you can get it for free. You just have to absorb it and get it from reputable sources. There's some great classes out there to help you with this. But try to get some education under your belt. Number 2, a website. My website, our website, mine and Kelly's website, is constantly evolving. At first, we were doing a lot of commercial work. I swore off weddings. Commercial work is great. We still do a lot of commercial work. A lot of commercial work. But then as things started to pivot into the wedding sphere, we had to change our website. We had to build a website that was reflective of what we do. Whether that means changing the branding, changing the colors, whatever is involved, do it. Okay, but don't go and invest a lot of money into a website until you are 100% certain who you are and what you are going to be. Don't invest the money into a website until you're confident enough that this is what you're going to do. You can spend thousands of dollars a year on a web designer. Okay, thousands. A good web designer is not cheap, just like a good photographer is not cheap. But having a good website is vital. But don't invest a lot into a designer because you don't know yet who you are. You might have your values, you might have your core identity figured out, you might have all of this stuff figured out. But don't invest thousands of dollars into real branding and marketing until you figured out who you are. Okay? That's key number 2. Number 3, it's the long pole in the tent, the elephant in the room, whatever you want to call it, is equipment. My goodness, you can talk about equipment all day long. Okay? Kelly loves her Canon Rebel. Loves it. Loves her Canon cropped, censored Canon Rebel. She loves it. But she realizes there's only certain things that she can do with that Canon Rebel. Okay? She still uses it a lot. A lot. And that's a fairly cheap investment. But camera bodies change a lot. So invest in an ecosystem that it works for you, right? A camera ecosystem that works for you. We use Canon. I shoot with a Canon full frame, mirrorless camera. And the lenses cost as much. My package costs as much as a used car. Okay? To any wedding, we probably carry around $10,000 to $15,000 worth of equipment. That's hugely important. But don't spend a lot of money on investing in equipment early. Figure out what ecosystem, whether it's Canon, Sony, Nikon, whatever you want to use. Invest in that and invest more in the lenses than the camera body, because camera bodies change all the time. Okay? Number 4. Invest in relationships. Invest in people. Network with other photographers. Network with people who know what they're doing. And network with successful people. But don't always do it in your own backyard. Okay? I live in Corpus Christi, Texas. A town where there's 500,000 people and 250,000 photographers. Okay? And seriously. Every Joe with a cell phone is a photographer. You don't have to compete with these people. So don't even try. Don't invest too much in your own backyard. Think big and think broad. Because chances are when you get out of your own backyard, that's where the money's at. Okay? You're not going to make $10,000 a wedding in Corpus Christi, Texas. Not going to happen. Okay? But I can go to Charleston, South Carolina, and make $10,000 a wedding. You follow me? I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. So, invest in relationships. Connect with people in the markets that you want to work in. Charleston, Denver, LA, Las Vegas, wherever you want to work in. And invest in the people and the resources there. Don't always invest in your own backyard. I know that's counterintuitive to what the Chamber of Commerce might tell you. But don't. Just don't do it. And you might have to when you're first starting off. You might have to. But just keep in mind, that may not always be the best place for you if you want to achieve the big bucks. So that's my 4 tips to helping you achieve the very, very most at being a new photographer in 2023. It's simple. Education, a website, but don't spend a lot of money on your website, but make it good. Invest in good equipment, and invest in relationships where you want to work. That's really about it. I mean, it's not that complicated. Invest in education. Invest a little bit in branding. Figure out your ecosystem with your website or your cameras and your lenses. Invest more in lenses than you do in camera bodies. And invest in relationships. That's the best thing you can do. All right. I hope that helps you. Hey, we'll talk later. I'm Matt Pierce, Creative Director for Route 3 Productions in beautiful Corpus Christi, Texas. We're helping you get the most out of your photography business and helping create some memories along the way. Stick around. Stay tuned. New content all the time. We love you. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.